What are they trying to do? What are they trying to manipulate? Supply or demand by having an opt-out system. Still got people with bad kidneys. Demand does not change. Okay? We still have our original supply. Okay. What happens if you hit a tree and you are declared brain dead, you're taken to the hospital, and you are not an organ donor? What? The supply stays the same. But in real life, in order for them to harvest your organs, because I hate to tell you this, teenagers, but you have nice, young, healthy, fresh organs. And if you bite it, you can save about 7 other people. There's a silver lining. But if you don't sign at the driver's license station that you want to give away your organs, and you are primo organ donoring candidate, what has to happen? Your folks have to come. Folks have to give them permission to unplug you. They have to get it all ready for them to harvest your organs, and they have to plan on a time to donate your organs. They find you, they match you, they figure out who they're going to give your organs to. If you have an opt-out system, where you're automatically a donor, unless you decide not to, they don't need to do all that. They're like, this person is brain dead, let's get the ball rolling. What happens to supply of kidneys then? Slogan says it goes up. It goes up because, good Lord, you could have been harvested before anybody got there and said, wait a second. And then they can say in that country, well, they didn't say we couldn't. Everybody assumes you can unless you say you couldn't. There's no paperwork that says we couldn't. You just saved 7 more people. Okay? So yes, supply goes up. And when supply goes up, which way does the supply curve move? To the right. They did this in several European countries. They have an opt-out system. And they still cannot keep up with the demand for kidney transplantation. Okay? Does this make sense? Now, we have looked at this issue economically. And economically, it makes sense to pay $1,200, that's like a thank you fee, to somebody who's willing to donate their kidney. Economically, we did the math, did we not? And we don't do this. Why not? Okay, that's one thing. We're afraid. Well, first of all, we're afraid about what it means to offer a monetary incentive for a human organ. We're afraid of that, and far be it from us to emulate Iran. We're not exactly. We don't see eye to eye with them necessarily. Okay, what else? Would you rather have a kidney from somebody who just wanted to give it to you, or would you rather have a kidney from somebody who said, sure, I'll do it for $1,500?
I don't think most people would care about if they have a kidney.
Okay. Yes, it gets to a point where you're tired of dialysis 3 times a week, and you're like, whatever, write the check, Mom and Dad. Okay? Right? But there are some people involved in the harvesting of organs that find that to be a very emotional issue to have to deal with. But when we look at something economically, it allows us to to do a cost-benefit analysis at the margin and make our decision through a certain set of rules that factor out the emotional and the ethical. When you think about something just economically. Have you ever heard the expression, it's just business? Right, somebody will say, well, it's just business. Don't take it personally, it's just business. That's what they're talking about. This certain set of things, we make our decisions at the margin. Okay? So, that leads me to our next activity. Oh, I have one more question. In Iran, there's rules, right? There's rules about, you can't just say, hey, my sister matches me, I'm going to give her $1,200. What are the rules? It's in the reading.
Don't you have to wait for so long?
You have to ask your friends, you have to ask your family, then you have to wait 6 months to see if somebody doesn't die and donate the organs that way before you can try and find a match paying for it. What do you think happened to altruistic donations in Iran when they offered the monetary incentive? Well, I don't think it stopped completely. Because if we were sisters, Emily, and you needed a kidney, and you asked me, I'm not going to say, no, you have to be on dialysis for 6 more months because I want the $1,200. You would be like, here's $1,200, let's go tomorrow, right? I hate being on that machine. I feel like crap. I can't believe you do that to me. Is $1,200 really that much money? Maybe a little bit more in Iran than it is here. So let's say here it was $2,500. For $2,500, he's like, I'll buy you a new car. Let's go, right? So it isn't as if the incentive is more than a trip to Disney World would cost, right? Depending on where you stay, can get really expensive. But it's not like they're giving you $2 million. So altruistic donation in Iran actually kind of stayed the same. Because if you found a friend or you found a sibling or an aunt or uncle that could donate, that pretty much stayed the same. Oddly enough, economically, the incentive of $1,200 led to an increase in the supply of organs. Just speaking economically. Now, I don't know if any of you would give away one of your eyeballs for $1,200. That's a different story, isn't it? Right? Because you've noticed that was gone. And I think there's the worry, too. Once you start taking things people don't notice they're gone, what happens when they get so desperate that they're willing to donate the sight out of one eye or something like that? And do we want to live in a society like that? But that's philosophical, not economical.